The Adams County Winery was started in 1978 by Ron and Ruth Cooper. He bought this land and several other acres. He divided off a good section of it and he sold that to the Twin Springs Fruit Farm, which is just on the west slope of ours. And then he started developing this winery. Several years later, he sold it to Tom and Bev Campbell. They owned the winery for about 13 years and built up the reputation. And my wife and I bought this in 1998. We came up here as tourists and we went away as winery owners. So far this season, we're in about what we call the 1-inch growth stage. The buds have come out, they've swollen, and then they have burst. And you can see now we have about 1 inch of growth where each bud would be. This is significant because if we were to get a freeze right now, we would lose a lot of our crop. The good news is, being on the slope that we are, most of the really cold weather flows down into the valley below us. This is also the time where we start doing things to prevent disease further into the season. And we will begin spraying here very soon with some sulfur and some other things to help fight pneumatosis and powdery mildew. This is a good preventative measure for us. Something else that we've done is underneath the trellis, we have killed our weeds and our grasses, and this is so that the vine has less competition for the water and for the soil nutrients. It's also a place that Japanese beetles overwinter, and hopefully this will help us eliminate a little of the Japanese beetle problem. From here on out, the buds will continue to grow. This particular bud will ultimately wind up being anywhere from 4 to 6 feet long. And this one bud will become a cane, which will produce this year's fruit. Generally, we can expect 2 to 3 fruits per cane, and that's where we get our fruit from. Well, the last 2 years' vintage have been polar opposites of each other. 2 years ago, we had a rainy year, and as a consequence, the grapes didn't get as fully ripe as we liked them. Last year, however, was probably one of the best growing seasons that we've ever had in Pennsylvania. Lots of dry, hot sun to ripen the grapes, and we had a really good vintage. Some of those grapes are now coming out in bottle, and they are delicious. Pennsylvania has many diverse growing regions, so there's really no prospect for being one common Pennsylvania grape. We here on South Mountain have a beautiful area to grow grapes. We have an eastern-facing slope so that we can pick up the rays of the morning sun, and the slope also helps to eliminate the frost that comes in the spring, so we have some protection from that. Also, the soil profile is excellent for growing grapes. But each of our regions, because we're in a cooler climate, is probably well suited to grow hybrid grapes. Hybrids are going to be those that have been specifically bred to produce both good grapes and to survive the winters that we can have here. One of the common varieties that we use that is a hybrid is right behind me, and it's called the Vidal. Vidal is a very versatile grape. A winemaker can make it dry, he can make it sweet, or she can blend it to make an excellent blended wine. We make a lot of Vidal-based wines here with us. Other of the hybrids that you can see around here include Saval, and then one called Chambourcin, which probably closely resembles a vinifera grape.
Okay, cooking with wine. There's many different things that we can use with wine, or, I mean, of course, I would prefer to drink the wine. Our South Mountain Mist. It is a great complement to a pork tenderloin with some chutney. You can marinate the pork tenderloin in the South Mountain Mist, which is a pear, and then add that chutney in between when you fillet it and bake it. Or cherry wine. Cherry wine is wonderful with a dessert platter of different chocolates. You can serve that in some cordial glasses with that, and then serve that along with a chocolate cake, anything like that. The other thing we have is a Red Shadows, which is wonderful with chocolate. We have the cherry, again, the cherry wine that you can take a ham and you can glaze that in the cherry, add the pineapple on the top with some maraschino cherries and a little bit of brown sugar. Cook it that way. Apple is wonderful for pork chops. You can put the apple in a skillet instead of water, and you let those pork chops cook down in the apple wine, and then you get a nice browning to that.